There are few players in the NBA who have had as much impact on the league and all of basketball like Allen Iverson. So how did AI go from facing a 15-year prison sentence to becoming one of the most talented basketball players in the world? Let's take a look at the legend of Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson began life in incredibly difficult circumstances. Born to a single 15-year-old mother, AI did not have the upbringing he would have dreamed of. As a youngster, AI got in a lot of trouble on multiple occasions. He did star in high school in both football and basketball. When you got the ankle-breaking skills that AI did, there's no way he wasn't going to be a star. AI was balling out at QB for Bethel High School, even leading his high school to the Virginia State Championship. In AAU basketball, he was just as successful. AI won the AAU National Championship at the age of 17. In that same year, AI had a massive blow to his career. Iverson and his friends were involved in a massive fight at a bowling alley, which included multiple people being injured. Iverson and a few of his friends were the only people arrested. Despite being a child, Iverson was officially charged as an adult and ended up spending 4 months in a correctional facility. It was an incredibly harsh sentence, as he was not even offered bail and eventually released due to insufficient evidence. Even though he had some time in prison, AI still got some big college offers and eventually landed with Georgetown. In 2 seasons at Georgetown, AI was phenomenal. He won Big East Defensive Player of the Year and was first team All-American. In a stacked 1996 NBA draft, Iverson was selected first overall in front of future NBA Hall of Famers like Ray Allen, Kobe Bryant, and Steve Nash. And it's easy to forget about it now, but there was a lot of skepticism about Iverson when he was coming into the league. Listed at 6 foot, he became the shortest first overall pick and joined a pretty terrible Philadelphia side. But there was just something special about the kid. Every NBA fan will famously remember that in his rookie season, AI crossed over Michael Jordan when the Sixers played the Bulls. And it's that sort of move that amazed NBA fans and started the cult following that Iverson retired with.
Very quick.
With the Sixers, Iverson did it all for that team. Even in the early years where the Sixers were really bad, Iverson was still putting up some insane numbers. It was very noticeable that as Iverson became one of the best players in the NBA, the Sixers became one of the best teams in the league. They made the playoffs in the 1998-99 season, the same year that AI won his first scoring title. A year later, they were back in the playoffs, but lost to Reggie Miller-led Pacers for the second successive year. When you look at the supporting cast that AI had though, making it to the second round of the playoffs was pretty impressive in itself. Iverson took his game to a whole new level in the 2000-01 season. There might not have been a more exciting or spectacular season from a single player in the 21st century. Iverson helped the Sixers improve by 7 games as they finished as the top seed in the Eastern Conference. Leading the league in both points and steals, he was crowned MVP and voted to the All-NBA First Team. It wasn't just the awards though, but the effort and the dazzling dribbling Iverson showed throughout the season that captivated so many fans. He was the best thing to watch in the NBA and was playing almost 44 minutes per game. That regular season was backed up by a pretty spectacular playoff run that took the Sixers to the NBA Finals. Game 1 of that series was one of the best individual performances in league history. The game is remembered for Iverson infamously stepping over Tyronn Lue after a crucial jump shot. But it should better be remembered for Iverson's playoff high 48-point performance to beat the heavily favored Lakers in LA. While the Sixers lost the next 4 games, for Iverson to put up any sort of fight against the Goliath Lakers team was incredibly impressive. It brought him even more fans than he already had. At this point, Iverson had a long career in front of him. As NBA fans will know, a similar storyline started to crop up. The players around him were either not good enough or not healthy enough. Despite improving on the stat sheets, Iverson and the Sixers regressed the year following their finals run. They lost in the first round of the playoffs, having finished 6th in the East. Despite acquiring Keith Van Horn and Todd McCulloch a year later, the Sixers did not improve a huge amount. They lost to the Detroit Pistons in the Eastern Conference semifinal. And this is where things started to go wrong for AI and the Sixers. Philadelphia took the decision to get rid of head coach Larry Brown, and it turned out to be a pretty terrible decision. Brown's replacement Randy Ayers started his tenure 21-31 and was fired in his first season. His replacement Chris Ford clashed with AI on multiple occasions, including Iverson being suspended for missing practice. It was a terrible season all around, and Ford was also eventually fired. While it seemed like AI's career was starting to fizzle out, he came back with an incredible 2004-05 season. AI was voted to the All-NBA First Team for the third time and even led the league in scoring once again.
Many feel Allen Iverson had the best year of his career this season.
Rookie Andre Iguodala was a massive help to the Sixers, and they finished with 10 more wins than the previous season. It didn't amount to much, as Iverson and the Sixers lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Detroit Pistons. From that point onward, Iverson started to tail off slightly. AI famously demanded a trade after a disappointing start to the 2006-07 season, and eventually got the move to Denver. Partnering with Carmelo Anthony, you might have thought this offensive partnership would be unstoppable, but the pair really struggled to gel together, losing in the first round of the playoffs in back-to-back years. A couple of short stints in Detroit and Memphis were followed by a pretty unsuccessful return to Philly. Family difficulties meant that Iverson's time with Philly was cut short, although he did play a very short stint with Besiktas in Turkey just after that. When AI announced his retirement from basketball in 2013, the sport recognized a legend who inspired so many future players. It's in retirement that we have really seen the legend of Allen Iverson grow. When anybody talks about the most influential players in basketball history, guys like Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant come to mind. But Iverson is right in that conversation. If you were a kid growing up in the late 1990s or early 2000s, Allen Iverson was likely your favorite player. It was not just the fact that he was carrying his team on a nightly basis, but it was also the manner in which he was doing it. His reputation really began when he crossed over Michael Jordan. That was when MJ was in his prime and AI was just a rookie. In that 2001 NBA Finals run, there were so many ISO plays where Iverson just created a shot all on his own. It was really him against the Lakers defense all on his own, if you ask me. Even as he got older, Iverson would still pull off some incredible plays in his time in Denver and Detroit. The guy was a walking highlight reel, able to amaze the fans on a nightly basis. There was just something else about Iverson that just appealed to NBA fans. His headband and sleeve created a whole signature look that youngsters wanted to replicate. Iverson's jerseys was always one of the league's best-selling jerseys during his time in the league. He was one of the most important players in NBA history and had a huge cultural impact. Iverson's practice rant is one of the most famous press conferences in NBA history.
We're talking about practice, man.
I mean, come on, we're talking about practice? For a guy that was so against practice, he sure seemed to excel at insanely high levels despite that. There are few players who have had the impact on the NBA and the NBA fan base that Allen Iverson had. Despite never becoming a champion, Iverson was and is still one of the most popular players in the league. It often gets forgotten just how good AI was on the court because his legacy is just so massive. So let's remember that Allen Iverson is one of the best players in his position, as well as a huge influence on the league as a whole. Even though Allen Iverson will be remembered as an icon and basketball legend, not everyone who plays for Philly experiences the same kind of love. Click on this video here to watch us break down the tragic fall of Ben Simmons. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.